Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. It is once again time to look at my least favorite event in the entire game, the Deck of Fate. In this case, named the Bounty Deck of Fate, and I guess that's a Thanksgiving-ish theme because, of course, today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to my fellow American viewers. And yeah, I guess for the rest of the world, it's just a random Thursday. So by now, I would say that probably most of you do know how this works, but in case you are one of the people that doesn't, there are 40 cards here, and the breakdown is as such. There are 17 common cards, 13 rare cards, and 10 epic cards that contain all of these rewards, and some of them are multiple, so probably multiple gem rolls and then multiple legendary tome rolls. If you wanted to get everything, you would have to flip all the cards, all 40 of them, and there's 1,000 points per flip, so 40,000 points is required, and that would guarantee that you get everything. Otherwise, if you do anything less than that, you have a chance to get each and every one of these, depending on how many you pull. And the rarity of the cards only really matters when it comes to the gimmicky side of it, where if you flip 3 of a kind in a row that is back to back to back, then you have a chance to get one of these tiers of, or one of the different tiers of rewards here, which it's very, very unlikely that you're going to get 3 epics in a row. Even less likely or more likely that you'd get 3 rares, and the most likely that if you get a triplet at all, you would get the common one. But unfortunately, the most likely outcome is that you're going to break a streak or break a triplet before you actually can get one of these rewards, and that's just the nature of flipping cards randomly. So in terms of rewards compared to other iterations of this, there's no champion fragments, so it's nothing like Cards of the Rye in that one, but they are doing a similar thing to the one prior to that one, where they did have specific gear sets and gear pieces. So in this case, we have Divine Speed and Killstroke, and Divine Speed is just a speed set with a shield, 15% HP, and then Killstroke is a crit damage set, but it also adds some speed, so a little focus on speed sets here. And of course, noticeably that there are mythical gear pieces that are up for grabs, bearing in mind that there's absolutely no guarantee that these are going to have good main stats and or good substats, and so you could just get really crappy pieces despite them being all 6-star legendary and or mythical. So how do you acquire the points to be able to flip the cards? Unfortunately, it is one of the least desirable combinations of dungeon divers, of course, everyone's least favorite and the worst as far as point acquisition goes, and then it is a summon rush equivalent. Now normally this is where I would flip over to the spreadsheet to kind of break down the dungeon divers aspect, but there's really no reason to do so, just because from a practical standpoint, getting 40,000 points in terms of, let's say, an average of 16-ish points is going to be tens of thousands of energy over the course of the next 4 days, which no one is going to be able to do unless you're a huge Kraken whale spender in the game. So let's just forget that really exists. If you're running dungeons already as part of the fragment summoning going on right now, great, you're going to get some points along the way. Or if you're just running champion training, great, you're going to get some points from getting shields from the campaign. But I wouldn't bank on maxing out this event at all by the dungeon divers. It is predominantly meant to be maximized with shard pulls. And so if that was your goal, in order to get 40,000 points, it would take you 20,000 sacreds at 2,000 per pop. It would take you 50 primals at 800 per pop. It would take you 115 voids at 350 per pop, and then 308 ancients at 130 per pop. And you can't see it behind my head, but if you really wanted to and somehow had that, you can do 40,000 mystery shards at 1 point per pop, but again, that is impractical. So this is normally the part where I say these events are usually not worth it, because again, there's a lot of RNG in terms of what you get. Say you wanted the mythical tome with legendary tome, you have no clue where they are in this batch of cards, and it could be the last pull, it could be the first pull, or first flip, it could be something in the middle. You have no idea, so the only way to guarantee that you get everything that you might want from whatever the reward chests are or reward table is, you'd have to go all the way in. And for something without some sort of guarantee at the end of it, I mean, I guess the rewards are guaranteed if you go all the way, but for some lacking other incentive, I find it hard to recommend going for these types of events, specifically ones that require divers and pulling shards. However, in this particular instance, they do have a pretty fun event coming up soon, starting tomorrow, a celebration of Black Friday into Cyber Monday, where they have a triple 2x event. So we can see here in the news tab that starting tomorrow, it'll be 2x Ancients, and then on Saturday, it will be 2 times Voids, and then on Sunday into Monday, it will be 2 times Sacreds. And so what that practically means is that you have an opportunity for all of these different 2x's over the course of one single weekend, in addition to being able to participate in the Deck of Fate by pulling shards. And so technically, you could do some combination of these 3 different shard types while still taking or getting the benefits of a 2x and contributing towards your progress in the Deck of Fate. Now, it is a summon rush type type event, meaning the amount of points you get is fixed per the number of per the shard type. Therefore, you could just do the math based on how many shards you have and calculate, hey, do I have enough ancient, sacreds, and voids combined to get all the way out to 40,000 in whatever combination makes sense, or however many you are willing to pull? Or you could skip the math and just say, I'm going to pull X amount of shards of each type and just get where I get, and that's another way to go about it as well. So as such, my formal recommendation is that you could go for this deck of fate if you want to. It's completely optional as always, but I would say if you're participating in like the Black Friday deals, and I know historically speaking, at least what I've heard is that Black Friday is typically one of the best times of the year to get good deals on packs in the shop if you're a spender. I'm honestly not, so I don't really know exactly what constitutes a good deal or a bad deal, but nonetheless, that is what I hear year in, year out. And more importantly, this event can be worth it if you just wanted to participate in the 222X. 2Xs are always a good time to be pulling your shards, and you do have a chance to get some decent rewards, legendary tomes, mythical tomes, energy gems, etc., and some pretty decent gear pieces that could amount to some really good upgrades for your account, or they could just be a bunch of extra silver that you end up selling in terms of bad gear. So of course that is up to you, but let me know what you decide to do in the comment section down below. As for my personal plan, normally I would say I would skip events like these because they're not part, in this case, it's not part of the Ugir Worm Eater fragment summon, so I don't really have to pull at all. But I'm in that situation where, once again, I'm basically out of rares. These are kind of like I'm down to using my void rares. I personally like to save my void rares as 3-star chickens to be used during a normal traditional fusion if I run out of the actual chickens that you can that are stored in the tavern, for example. And so I prefer to keep them for that purpose. But in the cases like these where I basically have, 5-6 different rares at the moment that I could use as chickens, so I start dipping into my void rares and using them for that purpose. So essentially I'm out of rare food champions to use, and in addition to that, I have a ton of ancient shards. We have not had a guaranteed for a while, not since Alsgore Crimson Horn. I think it was 180 ancients, and he was not someone that I was particularly keen on getting, and so I didn't feel like it was worth it to do. So my plan is to do just 100 ancients, which I already can tell you is 13,000 points in terms, or 13 flips in terms of the deck of fate, and then we'll just get what we get. And that way I can walk away with some rare food champions, potentially some epic champions, and maybe, who knows, 1 in 100 chance, it's a 2x, could get a legendary as well. Obviously that event has not yet started, so we're not going to be pulling those shards in today's video, but stay tuned for that one tomorrow when the 2x for Ancients is live. All right, so that's going to do it for the free-to-play review of the Bounty Deck of Fate. As usual, my general sentiment towards decks of Fate is that they are not really worth it or not that good, particularly the ones that are dungeon divers and shard pulling. I don't mind the ones that are champion training, because even though there's a ton of champion training events going on in the game at any given time, it's just the most accessible one to all types of player, or all kinds of players, because everyone can run through the campaign and work on their champions, and everyone should be developing champions on their account. And so it's the most accessible version of a deck of Fate. Even then, it's kind of impractical to max it all the way out exclusively through champion training, but those are the ones that I prefer to participate in passively, as long as there's some other events going on in the game. But stuff like this where it's shard pulling, dungeon divers, I'm not as keen on, again, because the rewards aren't necessarily guaranteed unless you max it all the way out, and as we covered, that's a significant amount of shards. However, given the nature of the Black Friday 222X, I think it could be a good opportunity for those who happen to have shards like myself in order to participate somewhat or participate fully, depending on how you want to do it. So once again, let me know what you guys plan to do for the Bounty Deck of Fate in the comment section down below. And as always, if you found this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you enjoyed the video, then be sure to hit that subscribe button down below as well. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.